Okay, so I think it's almost done. It's almost done. So
Have returned. Attack complete. Units
James, how are you? Maybe I hope you can hear me. Okay, now that's good. It's good that you are doing fine. I'm also doing great. So, think a bit of what a bit of a display mind. You'll be seeing me mostly in the. I think how you can see me right now. I'll be looking up. So I'm also recording the session. Uh, so I'm using two cameras. So mostly I'll be I might not really be focused on my laptop screen, but that makes it so that as long as you can hear me, makes it so that when I'm uploading later to YouTube, you're gonna have a good quality. So I think last time we looked at this. This is this we're trying to recreate this landing page. So we have the nav bar here. So I think mostly this looks okay. This is just a bit different on this part. Uh, there's not much of that good adding, right? I think that was not nailed well. See if we can modify that quickly as we move on. This login, yeah. So I can see I did not style the login. Uh, so the style here. We don't need a background color for that. So I think only a border radius, what are we using? 8 pixels. So let's compare the two. I think the other ones is, yeah, the border is much, much smaller. And let's try border. Usually you can have multiple properties. So something like, maybe something like, okay, let's try 2 pixels. Solid and what else does the border need? Usually 3 properties. Let me see if I can get them. Mhm. So it's border style. Okay, did I click explicitly on border style? No, I did not. No, it's only focusing on that border style. Yeah, so there's width and there's color. So I guess we want black. Let's try and see what we get here. Let's try to reduce that to 1 pixels. yeah, much smaller. And then now let's try and change this from a total black to something somewhat gray. I think that did work, but now we need some padding. So this is 6 and 12. Let's try that. Padding 6 pixels top, bottom, and 12 pixels on the sides. We save that. Yeah. And then if we look at our inspiration over here, a bit of gap between them, but not too much. A bit of gap between them, but not too much. So let's see, I think I'll have to, yeah, this looks smaller. So I think let me try and say 5 pixels for top, bottom. They look close to each other now. Then in this, I wanna give them maybe something like margin left. Is it right? Margin right. Margin right of something like 4 pixels to split them a bit. So this, I see that these values so yeah, we're gonna be playing around with these values. I find that you're gonna be mostly playing around with the same values. You see, margin, padding, you're gonna use that a lot. Like you look at this, let me bring up this inspiration, right? You take a look at this and you see like when you want to put some spacings between things, this gap here around it, yes, this gap. So how this is positioned, basically margin padding. And then when it comes to divs, as we said, divs are just like containers. So you can see like in this example, I want to group all this together to form one card. All these to be grouped here at the top. This is the nav bar. So you can see like all they're being grouped together. So like in this one, this is one init, this is another. Then you can see these two are also grouped because this is an input and this is a button. So you're also grouping this. And then you have these three also, they are being grouped into one. So this is just a breakdown of how I approach building such a website. Like in this other one, you can see that this entire one is a group. And then within that group, there is this group of these two, right? So there is this, and then it's grouped with this as well. And then there is this, all these three are grouped together, and each of them also is a group of these three. So in terms of this nav bar, you can see we have this as a group on its own, and then this one as a group on its own, and then this as a group on its own. And if we take a look at our code, we take a look at our code in this header, which is this that contains everything, right? We have the logo here, and then after the logo, we have this as a, so this logo is it has its own div, and then the rest of these are grouped together with under this nav, and under that you can see there's this unordered list which groups these four of them, and then after that we have this div that groups the two buttons, right, two, so they can stay there at the end. And yeah, that is the default grouping for now. And then let's take a look at our inspiration over here. Let's see. So we are now moving forward to this page, right? So I think we already have our image over here. I don't know if I pushed this. Yeah, I did push it. I did push it. So you can see we have this hero image.png. If I open it, if you can see, yeah. So this is the image that is supposed to be here, right? Then there are these other ones. So let's stop that, and then now come here. After the header, we are done with the navbar. we want to come now into the, I like to give it under there's a main tag. I like to keep it here for like to contain everything that I'm doing. So normally, let me note down the things that I usually have at my disposal. Okay, so I normally follow a specific structure when designing a website, right? So you can see that I normally have in my navbar, right? Whenever I'm building a navbar, I will have it in header, and then in this header, you're going to find a nav, right? For navbar. So a header is not it's not necessarily meant for this part. As you are aware, like even in like a gazette, like, right? If I look at the standard over here and I try and look at images, so you can see even this can be called header. So you move to any page, as long as it's any given uh, document when you're formatting, you can have the three groups, which is header, footer, and header, body, and footer, right? Header, body, footer. So even when you're writing a letter, you have the introduction there and the footer at the bottom there, so something like that. So mostly I'll have the header and then the nav, and then in nav you'll find now my unordered list or menu. Both of these work at the same time. They do the same thing, basically just an ordered list. But you'll find that most of the time I would use menu, but it's just a personal choice, not really. In HTML you're really free to do what you want to do, so there's no strict regulation in that. And then once you have that. So in my header, like in this one, you can see in my code base here, I always start with a header, and in my header there's the nav, right, to contain these links. And then in the nav now I have my UL to contain this number of links. And then this one you can also have it as a button or a link. Of course, normally it will just be a link. It's just that in this scenario, I don't really have the authentication pages. That's why I just had it as a button. But in normal projects, then I would have this, as a. Okay, so just a minute. I think you can still hear me. You can still hear me. Okay, so I had an alpha and then the another list. So yeah, you can look here. So this one, yeah, I could just have this as this. Normally I'll have it under other than login if it is for login. And then for the registration, I would have something like either register or sign up, either works, right? Either works. So, but you can see I'm using login and sign up, so that is how it should be. So with that, now I have to get rid of those. Uh, when I give it an A tag, there's some behaviors that I'm getting. So I need to get rid of that. And then I need to come here as well and add that text decoration. So this is what you will use when you want to underline something. And by default, links are going to be underlined. So you can change that. Now we have our links here. And then basically in UL, of course, I'll just have my A tags. That's the basic structure. Now, when it comes to the body now, there are several things that you have I have at my disposal you'll have. So there is main, there's section, and there's div, right? So basically, I use sections a lot when I'm dealing with the. Let's go back to our illustration, right? So this is it. So you can see here, this I call this the hero section. So I'll treat this as a section. I'll use this section, and then this one will also be a section on its own. So I'll have several sections. Okay, so just a minute. Mhm. Okay. So yeah, so like in this scenario now, the reason I'm taking my time to explain it because this is something that you're just gonna see me do. So you can see the first thing I did is I have my main. So actually, let me put it this way. After my header, I will have my main, and then inside main, I'm gonna have the sections or divs. Yeah. So that's the general approach that I take, and of course at the bottom you'll have your footer. So in this main now, in this main, I need my first section, which is gonna be the hero section. I don't know if I should move this. Yeah, I think I'll need to move this to the other side. Yeah, so I can see what I'm looking at. So yeah, I need to have that to add that section. Now, in terms of my grouping, I'll have two divs, right? Inside this other div, I'm only going to have an image. So I just need to select my image, which is hero image, and then I'm gonna say what pay with card, something like that. Pay with card, yeah. So uh, other than that, in terms of specifying with height, I will specify that later because it needs to be equal to that to some degree. Now let's come to this one. So I will have, let's say, a heading 2, right? I'll have a heading 2 that's gonna say this. So I'll have to use this. Since I can't select it's an image, I'll need to use a text extractor to extract this. And then I just paste it here. So it obeys the indent. Need to get rid of that. Get paid early, save automatically all your pay. So that's what it says. Now, the next one, okay, what did I just do up there? So let's go to, we need now a P that says supports small businesses with simple invoicing, powerful integrations, and cash flow management tools. So that is that. We have that. And then after that, what do we have? We have this now. So I'll have to group those because as we said, there are two of them. We have an input of, this is an input of type text because it's supposed to capture email. So I'm going to call it email and give it an ID of email. And then I'm gonna have what is it? A button. It's just gonna be a normal button. So let's just have it as button, and then it's gonna say get started. Hmm. No. I'll have to ignore the arrow for now. Although I could just okay, let's just add it, right? But for that, I'll have to visit the browser to get where did I leave that? This is it. So I'll have to come here. So I need the icon. So there are several options for getting icons. You have React icons, Lucid icons, like the one I want to use right now. So in terms of let's go to the guide first of all. I want to go to installation, and then now I hope this is not for frameworks only, but let me confirm with the icons first. I'm supposed to use some icons. Okay. So I want, what was that icon? What did it look like? So this is what, like arrow right? Something like arrow right. So let's see if we can get an arrow right. So not exactly the same. The other one was pointing a bit up. Let me try and see open. I don't know if okay. I want to open. I'll have to work with arrow right for now. Mhm. Was it under expand? Let me see. Trying to remember where that arrow might be. Oh, this is going to contain both sides. Okay, we'll just have to go with arrow right. So let's just go with this one. Let's see if get copy the SVG. I can also download. I think it's just easier to just download the SVG. Also, just copying the SVG also works because if I just copy that and I come here, also, now I can either put this in span or I can also just put it in a p tag. So normally for buttons, they have no issues. You can put something like a p tag inside of it, but you'll have to remember that it's gonna have, what is this called? So these are SVG, right? So it's gonna be, let me just show this. So yeah, you see, it's gonna be displayed vertically, and we want it to be displayed horizontally. So with that, we're gonna have to, where is this? I think we were somewhere here. Let me collapse this so that it doesn't really get in the way that much. Yeah. So for this button, we're gonna have to style it and say we want flex on it, and that should solve our issue. Display flex. Sorry. I'm used to using what is this called? Yeah. And then I want line items center so that the button, yeah, that arrow is sort of there. Now this arrow seems a bit big. I don't know if it's me or is it actually big. So now, of course, we have this image, and where do we have this? There are these two divs, right? So yeah, this section is containing them. So I'm gonna have to style this section as well. I'm gonna say display of, actually, I can use either now. Let's come here. So in terms of achieving this, I can use either display flex or display grid. Because in this scenario, either of them will work if I have so I think we can try and look at, let's say, the example of using both and see how they work when I use both. So the simplest, of course, in this scenario is just using display grid, and I'm gonna say grid template. We want to define columns here. So we want it to have 2 columns. And then in this other one, actually, do I really need to give each of them? It appears I do. I do need to do that. So style should be something like column span. Why is that? Really, these are some of the disadvantage of getting used to Chrome. So let's see grid CSS. See if we can get those properties. I think it's gonna be interesting once we get to Tailwind CSS, because it really makes all these situations very easy. So with 5 grid items, that's gonna be grid template auto. That's not exactly what I want. Is it on grid properties, align content, align column gap, no gap, grid auto columns, grid auto flow, auto rows, and not really grid column. Grid row. Which is this everything? Not really sure. So after this, what do you go to? Grid intro code challenge. I see. Don't really want, let's say, the solution, but don't really get what I want. But okay. So to make it easier, actually, I can just do this. So we are here in grid template columns. So yeah, so we already have defined that we want grid columns to be, we want 2 columns. Now what we want to take a look at is, let's see, is it here? Yeah. So this is going to translate to that grid column span number divided by span number. Okay, let's come back here. Grid column, right? So this is what we want to specify. 1. I don't know if we can specify a single value, because normally if we take a look here, okay, we're keeping multiple windows open. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is gonna place them automatically, but in my scenario, I want to specify 2 of them, right? That allows us to like change the behavior later. So for now, let's try and style this as well, and give it a grid column of 1. So let's see what we have here. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Grid column. Grid column. Grid column. Okay. Problem with W3 schools now, it's not really showing me the several properties that it has. Right. So child item properties, grid column. So span number. So I have to specify span. So grid column. Span 1. And I don't know. Let's try that again. So grid column, span 1 and span 1. Let's see what we get. Nothing yet. Now, one of the advantages of using flex, like in this scenario, let me just show that real quick now. If I did use flex, flex is much more straightforward because the moment I say here that I want a display of flex, it's gonna arrange this into what you are trying to achieve. You have this here and the other one here. So that's very easy to achieve with CSS. In terms of grid, if I could just let's see, not really docs. I don't know if I can go to the playground here. Let's get rid of this. I'm not sure. Let me try and just extract this so that we can see this side as well. Okay. So I think we got rid of that. Now let's try and let's have a section. Let's have a section. Okay, this doesn't have, oh, it does have ML. Okay. So we just want to have two divs. One is gonna say hello, and the other is gonna say world, right? By default, these two divs should be, may not. Is it still loading? Yeah, it's loading. Hello world, right? So this thing takes a bit of time for that image to appear. Now, in this scenario, I could just say grid or columns, right? It's just some loading issues. Now, in terms of here, I could just say call span one to take one and on span one. So this is how I would just normally do it, and that is already achieving the effect we want. And I think even without providing that, let's see what we get. Yeah, you can see just saying grid and two columns already got the effect that we wanted. But this is not really that side. So in this regard, you can see in terms of using this is what in terms of using flex, it's rather easy and straightforward when it comes to achieving this, splitting this into two. But now, if we wanted to be strict on this, if we wanted to be strict on this, let's try grid bar. Okay, so display grid and then grid template columns. Let's do outer for now. It's enough. So let me see if that will break it here. So outer works, or does it not? I refreshed the other time and it remained as it was. Right now it's still not. So I think I've gotten too used to read outer, not really. So what is this by the way? Why they? It's a very terrible user experience. I don't know why this is taking up all this entire space and I can't even close it. Let me see if I can go back and look for, yeah. Let's see. No, it's a bit, but grid outer columns, grid outer, grid template columns. Let's go to that. Defines the lines, names, and track sizing. So grid template columns, 60 pixels. Okay. Now track list values. Suppose, let's see. Okay, so let's see. So it defines the size of the column. So if I say 200 pixels and 200 pixels, does that give each of them? Okay, then if I say one FR and one FR, does that? Okay, so yeah, so for the automatic size, I think we got it. So as you can see, I think I've gotten two used to payment, but yeah, this is the effect that we wanted. So grid template columns, you specify. So this FR is dynamic instead of specifying like 200 pixels, and it will only be 200 pixels. With this, if I resize, we get that. Now, another thing, yeah, this is slightly larger than what we expect. So where's this? Okay, so we have our image over here. So we've added this. I think we were supposed to add. So after this div, we're supposed to have the other ones. So another div, we're gonna have a p that says learner. Okay, so there's supposed to be logos. I don't know. Should I get logos for? Let me see if I can get links for the logos. Learner. Let's see. Images. I think we can. Let me see if I can specify logo and see what I get. We can work with this. Copy image address. Now, in this one, and have an image with that as the SRC. Now these things are usually long. Let me just start. We don't have to collapse. I can't get the button to collapse this. Let me see. Control K0, and then let me see if I just unfurl what I need. Let me see if it can help me get rid of that. So how did I section? So and then in this section, I think we'll be on this other side. Not exactly. Let's see. So appears it must be included in that. So let me just leave it as is for now. Then I add another image again. What was that? Another one. Coinbase and Instacart. So Coinbase and Instacart. So I'll change this to Coinbase logo. I think it's just something simple like this. Copy image address. Another IMG. Let's have our Instacart. Copy image address as well. Just put it here, and then I have to go back here and collapse all this. Yeah, let me just slide it. So actually, if I can just come here. Do we have those images? Are they not found? The first one was called what? Klana. Let's see. Okay, so I have to specify the dimensions of these images. Just go to the next. Okay, they're here, so to just not refresh. Okay, so we have these three. Then let's now try and style this div. So we want it to have a display of flex. That is the first thing. After that, what else do we want? What else do we want? I think let me save it as we go forward. So display flex, and then mhm, you need to limit the dimensions of this. So instead of doing, I can just put width as 100%. Then I'm going to specify the maximum width to be what is it? Let's say minimum content. Let's see what we get from that. Not really, nothing much. So instead of that, let's have something like 200 pixels. Okay, that did not trim that, so I have to style the images. Okay, why is coming up here? So width is going to be 100. Okay, it's truly 100%, more like 30%, or maybe even 20. There are three of them. So let's say 20%, and then the height is going to be outer. Let's see. R is really small, really small. Let's try 30%. Uh, let's see if these other ones, first of all, that same property. These images, the issue with copying them is they are very long, very long. Yeah. So something like 30%. Now this parent div over here. Okay. Max width of 200 pixels. I don't think I need this anymore. Let me see. Oh, okay. So yeah, I need to adjust this. Let's see. 400 pixels. Yeah. Something like that. Okay, to stop this distortion, let's try that object fit. Okay, we can have contain, and that is the effect that we want. Relative can be seen clearly. So we have that. What else do you need? I think that was about it. Now, this needs to be centered relative to that as well. So we've also, yeah, okay, but this is actually larger, slightly larger. This should be in bold. Let's see, get paid early. So I can just put strong over here. No need to use CSS for that. Get paid early. Okay, yeah. So let's see the effect. That's it. Yeah. So these images are gonna force this to load a bit since they're being fetched. I don't know if I should just download them. Maybe just download them to avoid all these issues. So save images. So let's see. Hmm. So I think this is in intro. Yeah. So let's just add that there. Now this one we're going to call it what? This is Instacart logo. Let's call it Instacart logo. And then the other one was Coinbase. We went with this. So save images. We call that Coinbase logo. The other one was was that name? This is Klarna. So that was Klarna. logo. I think we went with this one. So we not link. Why I chose that. Yes, I need to cancel that. So save image as. So this is planner logo. Okay. So I can now get rid of all this. All of them are .png. So we can just come here and say in the current directory to select planner logo.png. And then it's the whole way down here. And get this as well in the current directory. The next one should be Coinbase logo. And then let's give this out Coinbase. And the third image is gonna be our Instacart logo. And we call this Instacart logo. Okay, so yeah, same result, but right now if I refresh, we have instant result. I'm fetching from the web, be happy. Yeah. What else? What else? Okay, I think I selected Instacart twice. I think I selected Instacart twice. Here, I think I was supposed to select. Oh, no, no, no. This is Instacart, but the first one was supposed to be Klarna. This one. So it's supposed to start with Klarna. So I save that. Instant results. Great. Now, this is not, they're not in the same line, these two. I was supposed to group them. So I think let me now unfollow this. And what else do we have? What else do we have? So this is our SVG. Is a button that says get started. It's supposed to be on the same as this one. So I'm gonna say here style, and we have our display flex, and we have that for now. Yeah, as you can see in this scenario, they are together, right? You can see they're together. So to achieve that, what we want to do here is now this button, right? This button, this input. We have to start with the input. So style farm. Now we want to remove the outline. Border. Okay, no, we didn't actually. Let me remove this since it did not do anything. So I think there is a default border applied, is it? Yeah. So it won't have a border anymore. Now, the reason why we're doing that is because we want this instead to contain the border. So we can say our border is going to be 1 pixel, solid, and black. Okay. So it's going to contain all this now. So max, I'm gonna say maximum width. Maximum width is fit content. So the parented these two can just be enough to contain those two, so it doesn't come all the way up to here. So we have that now. Now this border will need a border radius. Let's put something like 8 pixels and see what we get. We're getting some. So I need to remove the border here as well. So let's try and get rid of that. Okay, actually, I think it did have a border. So let's see. I think whether it does or doesn't will not really matter much because it's the same color. So I can just get rid of that border, none as well in the button. And then there is a blue color that I think we add here. Or actually, I can just copy from this. Just copy that color. And then we need to add this color on the button. So here's our button, that says get started. This one here. So I need to add a background color of that. Let's see what we get. Fantastic. Then this will also need a border radius. Let's give it something like 12 pixels to make it a bit rounded. Now, the border radius for this one will have to match this other one so that it kind of disappears around that. Okay. So in this other one, let's come and adjust that to 12 pixels as well, so that yeah, they kind of match there. Now, I don't know why this part. Okay, I can try using outline. Okay, if that is trying to bring some issues. No. What else? What else do we need? What else do we need? So we have that. I think the text should be white. I think for white is offers more visibility on this part. Yeah. So this other one is this the input. Yep, this is the input. Yeah, this button. So we want it to have a color white. And that's one. But both, and I think for the most part, okay, they should be to some degree, you know, if I have this on full screen, they need to be at the center here. This is something I'll have to achieve after I bring them together. So let's see. So we have this section, right? So we have this section. Now I'm gonna give this section a maximum width of something like 1280 pixels. And then I'm gonna say margin left outer and margin right outer. Let's wait for it to refresh and you see the effect that we achieved. So I wanted this to remain at the center. So instead of me having to put it in a div and then saying that display flex and justify content center, I can just say that the margin on the left and the margin on the right to be outer so that it automatically adjusts until it is at the center. And that is the kind of like effect that we want. Now, there are some constraints that you have to put yourself. Like you see here, it's supposed to say get paid early, save automatically, or you are paid. So if I bring this up versus, what is this? This one, you can see the font is really big. So we have to start with that. Let's start with that. So not class, but style. We want to say font size. Let's give it something like 40 pixels. Let's see, what do you get? Okay. And then now, one thing that you'd find me normally doing is I'll give this a maximum width of maybe, let's say something like 400 pixels. When I want to achieve this, you see that this breaking effect, right? Get paid early, save automatically, all your pay. So you can see it's supposed to break. So get paid early. So I will adjust that, but after I've confirmed that this font size is okay. So are they close to what we want? Okay, actually, this is talking. Okay, because this is heading 2, it's automatically bold, right? So I guess I'll have to use a normal P tab so that it clears the browser defaults that I have. I'll have to save this first and come back here. So yeah, because I used the heading 2, so it was trying to like make it really big by default. I think 40 pixels, how does it seem compared to this? Seems a bit small, so let's add that a bit. Let's try something like, I don't know if 48 is enough or we go to 60. Let's see 48 and then we'll see if we need to go to 60. That looks okay. So I just need to limit this more. So instead of now I'm gonna try something like 320 pixels. Okay, so that did not fit the other one. So I'll try 360. Okay, let's even try 350. Okay, was not enough. 360 pixels. Yep, that's what we wanted. So you can see get paid, save automatically, all your pay, same what we wanted. Now the rest we want it to be, you can take a look at this. The rest we want it to be semi-bold, so I'm going to have to put that in here, I guess, here. So let's specify that we want the font weight to be semi-bold. Semi-bold. So yeah. Then other than that, what else do we need? For the most part, we are good. Now this spacing over here, right? Spacing. It's some spacing. So I used display flex to separate all these three images. Now, since I just want to achieve something else, I'll just say justify content, and it's gonna be space between, so that one stays at the beginning, the other at the end. Okay, so it will have some space. Now this one, I limited the width of this, but I think instead what we can do here is, once we have established the size of these ones, I'll just limit the images themselves. So we have this width 30. Instead of saying width 30%, let's give them a specific value like this one. We already know that when the parent 30% of 400, right? That worked. So I just need to give them something like 120 pixels for each of them. And then for this maximum width, I can get rid of that. Let's see how that distorts. Okay, so I need to also limit this one. Let's see. Its size is rather small. The font is, I think, light. And then what else? This one not exactly black. It's also not exactly black. What else do you see? Okay, so this one has an your business email. So I think I forgot to add that. Now in this input, it has a placeholder that says your business email. So yeah, and then I'll need to put some padding on this input so that it's a bit centered. See, styling, padding left. Let's give it something like 20, something like this. 10 pixels should be enough. Yeah, so it's a bit moved from that side now. On focus, so there's something that you'll also need to do. Like you can see, when someone puts some focus on this, there's this. There's that effect that you get. Not sure if I can. Let me see if I can just target them in general and say we want input on focus. What do you want? What do you want? Is it really outline none and border none? Let's see if we've gotten rid of that. If I put some focus here, so you can see right now there's no such effect. That's what you wanted to get rid of now. This part, I just need to correct that a bit. I think by now I can return this to this side. Okay. So this works okay, but I need to limit that when we are in large screen. So how is this one? Yeah, this one. So let's see. Style as well. actually. Yeah. 360 pixels. Let's try the same 360 pixels that is working for this other one and see what we get. With simple invoicing, what are we supposed to have? With simple invoicing, so it's okay. Yeah, where it stops is okay. Maybe try something like font weight, and that is gonna be lighter. How does lighter look like? I'm not seeing any difference. Is it just me, or am I not seeing any difference? Because if I'm to say bold, I expect it to be like that. If I can, yes, okay, it's okay. But I think I'll need to change the color to be something like something along gray. So I have to specify color. Let me use black. Then I can use this picker to drag it to something like gray. Because it's not exactly, shouldn't be exactly black. Yeah. Yeah, so you can see like this is it's not exactly, it's not black, right? Something like gray. I think this is still very close to black. Let me see if I can update that as well so that it becomes closer to gray. Yeah, something. So this is what we have for now. I think it's 9:10 already. So if we can leave it at that, we've done the hero page. Now, in terms of responsiveness, we do not handle that, but this is it's not so bad for the progress that we've made. If we compare it with this one, now this is an image that I took, so it won't be exactly like this one because I can't really snap the exact portion, but yeah, we can see this. I can resize this image later and then ensure that what else? The most part, this is okay. The most part, that's okay. Then we can continue this other one as we see how that comes along. So hopefully this has been nice. We've taken a look at how to how to approach breaking this down into smaller components and being able to utilize them. So yeah, does anyone have any question? Can type that in the chat. Unless someone has any question, then does anyone have any question? Thank you, James. Hopefully it's been great. And yeah, I'll be including this session. And you can also do a bit of practice. I think I can send this image in the chat, and I'll make let me push my updates right now so that you guys can be able to take a look at that at any point in time. So 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 yeah, I've pushed that, and then okay, actually the image is also contained there, so I'll just send the link to that repo, and then all of you will have access to that. Yeah, it's also the session has also been recorded and will be uploaded.